Hello friends, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to discuss about how we migrate from BC-14 on-prem to BC-21 cloud solution. So before I begin my video, I would like to request you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends and others so that this video can reach someone who may need such information. So it will be better if you can comment and leave your views so that I can check into them and incorporate in my upcoming videos. Anyway, without wasting more time, let's start with today's topic. So today we are talking about migration of data from your on-prem solution to the cloud solution. Before we can decide on going to cloud, there are few considerations which we should look into them and prepare ourselves so that we can run the migration smoothly. Okay. So here I have provided two links, and one is for your compatibility matrix, which shows from which version you can move to which version. So if there is a direct route, or you will have to hop between some other versions to reach to your final destination. So according to this compatibility list, from BC-14, we can directly go to SAAS on cloud BC-21. And the first link is the process how this migration you will set up and follow to get your work done. So, like we are familiar with the old age Navision, whenever we used to migrate the data or upgrade the database, we used to follow some certain path. Like you are not immediately changing to the higher version, next version. You are having a gap between your two versions. So Microsoft always provide you some midway to follow and reach to the higher version. So just in case if you are coming from old Navision days, still you are having your Navision, and now you are deciding to move to BC, and that too in a cloud environment. You may have seen my blog also, where I have compared the Navision and your BC. What is difference between these two? So to get those functionality, those capabilities, you decided to move to the BC. But since you are still in Navision, so you are lost with the all the path that you can go to your Business Central on cloud. So the bare minimum requirement, if you still wish to go to your cloud solution, is you should come to BC-14 on-prem at least before you can migrate your data to the cloud. Let's take an example like if you are coming from older version of Navision, say Dynamics 2009. So now from 2009, you cannot go directly to the cloud solution. So you will have to follow some certain path. So like first hop from your 2009 will be 2013. So you will have to first migrate your data from 2009 to 2013. Once your data is in 2013, then you can move your data from 13 to 2018. That is the last Dynamics Navision version. After which it was Navision was taken over by the Business Central. So once you are in 2018, then you can migrate to BC-14 on-prem. And from BC-14, now you can go directly to the Business Central 21. So you will be with the latest version that was released in this October only. So to move to Business Central 21, which is your Business Central 2022 Wave 2. So, today in this video, we are going to see how we can achieve this. Okay. So before we can think of doing this migration, there are few considerations which we have to follow. So the first requirement is that you should be an admin in your BC-14 and in your BC-21 cloud. So both the place you should have the administrative right with super permissions. So if you don't have a super user, then you won't be able to make any changes in your Business Central tenant. So that is compulsory requirement. Second thing is depending upon the size of data. Because you are running Navision from several years, so your database has been grown too large. But it will be a better if you can reduce your size. We will see later on how and what to be considered to reduce our database size. So it is suggested that you always have maximum up to 30 GB in single migration. Because once your migration is set up, you can run your migration n number of times. Like in first step, you have migrated your one company, and then again you can migrate your second company and so on. So like if you are having a 350 GB of database and you want to go in a single go, that will not be possible. Or it will be a very hectic. So it will be better to see if you can reduce the size of data. Like if you are having multiple companies, some companies may be a 50 GB, some companies may be a 40 GB, some companies may be even 10 GB. So accordingly, you can slice and dice which companies you want to migrate in one go. like the 50 GB company, you should consider to migrate it individually, means one by one. So that is one thing that you need to consider so that your migration never fail and your success rate is higher. So the second point, which is, since you have already came to BC-14, so you have to ensure that your database compatibility level of your database is set to 130 or maybe higher. So minimum 130 is required. So that if it is not there, you can go to the properties and check this and set to at least 130. Okay. Then if you talk about when you purchase a subscription, you get total of 80 GB of database storage. So if your database is higher than that, then you will have to consider to purchase more spaces so that you can carry on your migration. For that, you can look for support team and work with them to get more space. So by default, the size that is available, that is 80 GB, and this 80 GB is in total. It will be your production plus your 3 sandboxes. So in total of this 4 environment, the size cannot exceed 80 GB. So you have to consider accordingly. So here is something which deals with the storage. So apart from your default storage, you have the additional storage capacity depending on your licenses. So if you are having the premium license, so you will get 3 GB for each license. 3 GB additional storage. So it becomes like you are having one premium, so you will get the 83 GB. Similarly, if you are having an essential, you will get a 2 GB additional per license. And if you are having a device, you will get 1 GB additional. Although after this also, if you require more, still you can purchase the add-ons to add your storage space. So you can purchase additional database capacity and environment through your reselling partners. So you can have the database capacity add-on of 1 GB, 100 GB, or capacity over 1 GB. So similarly, these are the options which you can slice and dice about your size that you may require. Second thing is, when you are considering of reducing the database size, it will be a good idea to delete your unused companies. There could be a few companies which you don't use, or it is a test company or such anything. So you can just get rid of them. You can delete your documents because you are having documents, attachments, and other all lots of information. So you can remove them if it is not required. So you can use the retention policy for like you're having the log keeping or such kind of change log and all those things. So how much data you want to retain for 1 month, 2 months, and so on. And the last one is you can compress your tables. So these are few of the ideas which you can follow to reduce your database size. Okay, so now coming to a migration process. So your on-premise database, like in our case, we are talking about BC-14. So this should be on-premise and should be using SQL Server 2016 or later version. As we have already said, the compatibility level of your database should be set to 130 or higher. Also, you can update your statics and reorganize indexes of your all tables so that this will ensure that your migration runs as fast as possible. So these are few things which you can consider before you can start the migration process. Other than these, some few more points that you should consider that obviously if you are going migration to online, so you should have one online tenant. Second thing, he should be the user who is going to run this migration. He should be an administrator, a super user of your on-premise and your online Business Central SaaS solution also. So at least one user should be a super with the super permissions in your target company of Business Central Online so that you can perform your all the tasks. Second thing, you should consider reducing the amount of data that you migrate. Like we have already discussed that you should slice and dice the size and use other methods to reduce your data as much possible. So when you are planning for switching from Business Central on premise to online, so you have to carefully plan so that no users are working in either of the database when this migration process is in process. Also, when you are doing this migration, at that time, you need to consider that that is not the window where your Business Central Online is going to update. Because if you see, every month there is a update process which is taken care by the Microsoft itself. So in this way, your online solution always remain up to date. And one thing more, you have to check that Intelligence Cloud Base and Business Central Intelligent Cloud. These two extensions are there and installed. So by default it is there, but still you have to just confirm that it is there. And if not, then you have to consider to get these extensions installed. So basically this migration process of your Business Central is broadly divided into two parts. One is your data replication. From SQL to SQL, the data get replicated. And the second part is the data upgrade, because there is a version difference. So during this period, there have been lots of changes. So few fields are dropped, few are remapped, or somewhere else the informations have been moved. So accordingly, your data will be set to new changes. So depending upon the size and other things, you may require your upgrade tools. You have to work with your upgrade tools for some time, like it may be long time taking process or similar kind of. So either it is your on-premise or your online environment. So until this data upgrade process is complete, in both the database, no one is working. So you have to ensure that. So regarding the data of your extensions, so if you want that the data of your extension need to be moved, so that extension should be available at both the places. Like if it is in BC-14 and that extension is not available in your online, so your data will not migrate, and vice versa. So your extension should be available in both the places. If your extension is available in both the database, then only the data will be migrated. And if you don't want to carry forward the data of that particular extension, you can just uninstall it. So the data will not move to your new environment. So while this process, few of the tables, like your system tables, users and permissions, these are not migrated. So once your data is migrated, you will have to create the users and permissions in your online database, because this security permissions, this everything having changed. So old days permissions is not going to work. So you have to reset up it in your online database. So in this case, I am using this BC-14 cumulative update 1, and my database is of Australia. Okay, so BC-14 CU1 AU database. So here I have included the screenshot also. So you can see that. So first of all, this is my, means I am coming from whatever environment, at least I am now on BC-14. So from here onwards, I can move to your online cloud solution. So in this database, I am having one extension. I have just created one sample extension just to show that how the data is moved of your extension to your online system. So there is one extension, and this extension is very quite simple, not having lots of things. So it is just having one field in your customer and one or vendor, and accordingly that field is added to your customer list, customer card, vendor list, and vendor card. So this is what I am having at the moment. So I am using the AU demo database with one small extension which have a very small customization, and I have entered some data so that we can verify that the extension data is also moved to your online system or your cloud solution. And this is my BC-21 cloud environment, which I am using Cronus USA Inc. So here basically I am using sandbox, but in actual it will be your production environment. So you can see that my online is BC-21.1 demo database, fresh, clean, and same I am having on-prem Cronus Australia database, that is also a demo database with one small extension. So my on-prem database is almost 0.6 GB, around 600 GB or something. And to demonstrate this demo, I have just done it in the sandbox. But in actual, you will be doing this process in your production environment. So to start with the migration process, the first step is to set up your migration. To set up your migration, you will go to your assisted setup and search for setup intelligent cloud. So when you open the assisted setup page, you will find one entry of setup intelligent cloud, like you do for your email and all those things. Similarly, there will be one wizard setup for this also. Just in case if you don't find, so you need to check that if you are having the extension installed, and if you are having the extension also but still you are not having you are not able to find it in your assisted setup, so you need not to worry. You can run it from the extension also. So you just go to your extension management, check for intelligent cloud base. If this extension is installed, you just go to setup. So when you run this setup, your intelligent cloud setup will be launched. So as usual, you will have to accept the warning and privacy notice. First screen is the welcome screen for you. So you can just read out all the information, and once you are okay with that, you can proceed to next. Now on the next page, you will have to select from where you are going to bring your data. So in this case, I am using BC-14. So I have selected Dynamics 365 Business Central earlier version. Okay. So accordingly, you will having 2 or 3 options. So you have to select one of them. So whichever applies to you, you just select that. But in this case, it is BC-14. So I am selecting that earlier version. And then you will have to respond with next. The second thing is you will have to provide your SQL connection string. So what is this SQL connection string? So you can just copy this formula, string, text. Sorry. So it is server equal to whatever is the name of your server and backslash and your instance name. If you are using the default instance, so you can just give your server name, that's all. No need to give specify the instance name. Then you will have to give the name of your database. You can go to your SQL and find the BC-14 database. So that is basically your demo BC-140. So you can use that name, or whatever if other name you have used, so you can use that name. One thing you have to consider here that you will have to provide the SA user and password, because Windows doesn't work in this. So you can use the SA and SQL authentication basically. No Windows authentication. So once you have provided this all information, you just copy it and paste to this field. SQL connection string. And the second is integration runtime name. If you have already there, then you can provide the name. Otherwise, you can leave it blank. Because in the next process, we are going to install a self-hosted integration. So runtime. So we will leave this blank for now, and we will move to the next step. So here the first option you will get to download the self-hosted integration runtime. So when you click this, you will go to the download page. So you have to download that setup and install it. One important thing is this authentication key. So you need to copy this because you will require this when you set up your this integration runtime. So next we will locate the file which we have downloaded and run the setup. The setup is very straightforward. Like other applications, you have to just say accept the license, next, 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 and so on. When you reach to the 5th page, at that time you will be asked for that key, authentication key. So the authentication key which you have copied in the last previous step, you will paste over here. So if your authentication key is correct, the green tick will come. So now you have provided your authentication key. So you have to register your device. So when you click on registered, it will show you the server name and the node name and all those things. And finally, it will give you the option to launch your integration runtime configuration manager. So when you launch it, the last screen, you will see it will give you the details of your data factory integration runtime. So these all things you don't have to worry. You have to just provide this authentication key and your SQL connection string. Depending on that, everything will be configured automatically. So once this is shown that your self-hosted node is connected and you are running, so you have to leave it as it is, keep it running, minimize it, and come back to your previous screen, cloud migration setup. So here the authentication key which you have copied and provided over there, the same key is here also. So you have to just next so that it can authenticate you and connect your database. So once you do that, the authentication key is registered, your cloud data factory has been configured. So basically a pipeline has been created between your local SQL and your cloud environment. So using this connection, now your all the data will get transferred. So next you will be provided with the list of companies in your database. So which companies you want to migrate. So in my case, it is 1. In customer's case, it could be a 2, 4, 5, 10, whatever. So you can see that the size is also given over here. So accordingly, you can decide on how many companies you want to migrate in one go. So if it is small within your 30 GB limit, so you can migrate all companies in one go. And then you go to the next step. So that's all. You are done with your cloud migration setup. So basically, you have created a connection between your local SQL and your cloud environment. So after this, you will be running your process, means actual your data migration process. So this was all about the setup part. Now, when you say next or finish, so this will provide you with the option if you want to go to your cloud migration management page, so if you want to take a coffee break, you can say no, and you can, when you return, you can open this cloud migration management page and continue from there. But in our case, we are going to continue with this next step. So once we say yes, the cloud migration management page will open. So here you can see that your setup part is complete. So you can see one entry is there that is says that it is a normal completed this to this cloud migration setup. Okay. So now you can choose run migration. So when you click on this, it will take a confirmation that if you want to trigger your migration. So obviously yes. So we will say yes. So it will give a confirmation that your migration process has been triggered, and one more entry you will see over here. So the number of time you run your migration, a new entry will be created. So in left side, if you can see, there are some details like total this much tables need to be migrated, and one company is there and which is not installed, initialized, sorry. So once you do this, so your migration is done. So next step is to upload the extension, the demo extension which we have created. So that we will upload into your cloud solution in cloud environment. So now the structure is same. Prior to this, your extension data was not moved. Reason why this extension was not in your cloud, so the data related to this has not been migrated. So now we are installing this extension. So we will have to run the migration again. So don't confuse it with that. If you run the migration again, it is going to wipe out your database and restart your. It is nothing like that. Only the differences means in the previous migration when you executed, and now you are executing. So the difference is the data of this extension. So only the data of this extension will be migrated. Rest already have been migrated. So after installation, you will again open your migration, cloud migration management, and run your migration again. So if you see in the previous run, this has started at this time, ended at this time, and upgrade is pending because data is not upgraded. Only what happened, the migration has happened. The data from your premise has moved to the cloud solution, but it is not set according to the new changes, because few fields may have been dropped, some fields may have moved to some other tables. So accordingly your data will be set and upgraded as per the new design. So this process, run data upgrade, is your last process. Once you run this, then you will not be able to migrate again. So until your migration is completed, everything is completed, don't run your data upgrade. So since we have recently installed the new extension, so we will run the migration again. So your new migration will happen, and see in this demo I have run twice. So That's why it is giving you 4 entries. But still my upgrade has not happened. All are pending. So since I am done with my all the migration, my company has been migrated, my extension data has been migrated. So now my next step is to upgrade the data. So next, to upgrade the data, you have to be the last migration that you have done. After that, you will run the data upgrade. So once you choose that, so it gives you the warning. The upgrade must be triggered at the last step because you will not be able to migrate further data after the upgrade. Before you start the upgrade, make sure that you have moved all companies that you want to move. You will lose access to the environment when you start the upgrade process. You can track the process in your Business Central admin. So once you launch this, you say yes, and it says that now you can track your details from admin center under operations. So once you run this data upgrade, it may take some time. So you can keep checking on here what is the status of your data upgrade. So you can go to the admin center and under operations, you will see that this data upgrade is completed. It was invoked on this and started this time and completed at this time. So once this process is complete, you see that it is completed. So you can reopen your migration management page. And if you see in the right hand side, there was showing one queue which was saying that one company not initialized. So when you click on that, you will get this page. So here you will, as a final step, you will have to schedule your company initialization. Now the final step is once your data is migrated, data is upgraded. So next is to initialize the company. So you will schedule, say yes. So your company initialization has been scheduled. So you can go back to your migration management page. And now you can see that your data upgrade is completed and company status is not initialized, company is 0. So means everything is done. This is the total table successful in this run. This was the total table that was to be migrated. And this is the number of table that has been successful in your migration. So you can drill down and go and see each and every table details. The warnings are basically those tables like you may be having some extensions in your on-premise but not on cloud and vice versa. So those data comes under your warning. So those tables comes under your warning. And you will see that this table not found or similar kind of thing. So you can verify it if your any required table is not in the list. So after this, you are done with your task. So you need to open your company, newly migrated company. You set up your users and permissions, verify your data that everything is okay, everything has been migrated, nothing is left over or anything, any problem into data, and start working with your cloud migrated companies. So just to verify, you can see that this data have been moved to your online also. So here are the few screenshots of your customer and vendor list and card, just to show you that your extension data has also been upgraded. So that's it. You are done.